thousands of people have mysteriously vanished in America's wilderness. Join us as we dive into the deep end of the unexplainable and try to piece together what happened. You are listening to Locations Unknown.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Locations Unknown. I'm your co-host, Joe Irado, and with me, as always, is a guy who's always early to the party, even when he's an hour late, Mike Van de Bogart.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you once again to all of our amazing listeners for tuning in. Just a couple of quick announcements before we get going. First, new Patreon shout-outs. So we got Logan Langer, Melissa Lucht, Michelle Dove, E. Beaver. Good name there. We caught it before you read that one live. So if you hear this, have a good laugh on us.
We're assuming it's not the real name.
Yes.
We didn't say the full name.
We didn't.
But we also didn't want to not say it in case it is your real name.
Yeah. So if it is your real name, well, we apologize for not saying it, but we think it's a prank on us. So thank you for that. Emily Christoffers. And also Emily Christoffers, must have been an accident there. You subscribed twice. So if you want, you can reach out to us and we can refund you for one of those. Sarah Hines, Kayla McLaughlin, sorry,
McLaughlin.
and Melissa Hitsky. So thank you so much for supporting the show. We say this every episode, but we really mean it. Without all of the amazing support from you guys, this wouldn't be possible. All the things we're doing this year would not be possible without you. Finally, we want to give a quick shout out to a person who helped us research this episode. So it's Catherine Allender. Did I get that right, Joe?
You did.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is the first one of all of the individuals that applied for the position of research. We narrowed it down to 14 or 15. And the last phase was each of them are going to research an episode. We are compensating them for that, so it wasn't just us trying to get free episodes out of them. Although I learned that typically people do have to do, when they're doing these for larger podcasts, they do have to do the research.
Oh.
Just in the application, they don't get compensated. So,
okay, well.
I was happy to because it helps us out and it helps encourage them. But we're really excited to go through these. So like the next many episodes are going to be done by all of the individuals who applied for the position.
And Joe and I still go through the research and we kind of, tailor it for, how we like it.
Punch it up.
So, but thank you to Catherine and to all of the other people that have helped research some episodes coming up here. Finally, if you'd like to call the show, leave a voicemail, talk about anything. You like us, you hate us. Whatever it is, ideas, funny commercial ideas, call 208-391-6913. The funnier or meaner, the more likely we will air it.
True.
But just remember anything you
The
say.
nicer, too, will probably actually post those on social media.
Yes. But just remember anything that you say that is recorded on the voicemail could be used on a future show. So,
yep, keep that in mind.
All right, Joe's got some exciting updates, too.
Yes. I also want to say that the intro from Mike today was a recommendation from a listener, Jonathan Woods, which I like that. So if you have a funny intro that you'd like me to say to Mike, email it to me at joe@locationsunknown.org. Don't send it to our social media because Mike will see it. And he never knows what I'm going to say to him. So thank you, Jonathan Woods, for the suggestion. One update, Michelle Medic has been doing a lot of great videos for us, so please go on our Instagram or Facebook to see the reels. She's doing fun facts and really interesting tidbits from different national parks or state parks that she's been to, as well as info from the show. So
we hope to get more content like that out there in our, in between episodes.
Absolutely. So thank you, Michelle, for your constant work, and hopefully we'll be having a show from her in the future. And speaking of that, with Unknown Media Group starting and growing, we are bringing on a new show that is quite literally similar to what we do. It's called Off the Trails Podcast with Danielle and Megan. Danielle and Megan met in 2013 while briefly working together, and the friendship stuck. Both have enjoyed the outdoors, true crime, and mysteries, but it wasn't until 2023 that the idea for a podcast started to grow. In November of 2022, the pair heavily discussed and checked for updates of a young hiker lost in the White Mountains. After several days, the case came to a tragic close. Again, in February of 2023, they played armchair detectives when friends from Maine were reported lost under unusual circumstances. After 5 days, the women were found alive in the woods, and the seeds of what has become Off the Trails were planted. Danielle is a New Hampshire girl born and raised, mom to 1 kid and a handful of fur and feather friends. 9 to 5 is spent in the exciting realm of utility accounting. That's Mike knows all about accounting.
Oh, it sounds very exciting.
5 to 9 and weekends are spent in the garden, adventuring with her blind dog, hitting the trails with her bike, and soaking up any time outside. Being an avid read and gifted with ADHD tendencies to research things to the extreme makes her a great teammate for trivia. Megan has called a lot of places home, venturing between New Hampshire, Florida, Texas, Montana, and currently residing in Massachusetts with her partner. Working remotely is as a blueprint engineer for an outdoor kitchen company. The next place to call home could be anywhere. As a couple, they're raising little gray dog Luna and their newest addition, a cat named Hank. Living a dual life as both an adventurer and a homebody, she enjoys paddle boarding, hiking, cooking, reading, and video games. The warmer months are spent outside as much as possible, but homebody hibernation takes full effect for winter. So go over and check out Off the Trails podcast, especially if you don't like what me and Mike are doing. They're basically doing a very similar show. They have additional actual true crime instances as well. But for the people that don't like us, you can go check out their show because they're part of our network now. We're happy to have them. So go check out Off the Trails podcast.
We'll have links in the show notes.
Yes.
Yeah, we really like their show. We think they have a huge potential. So we're very excited to have them on board.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, let's gear up and get out to explore locations unknown. December 18th, 2021. Hikers recorded a video of a woman swimming at Wekiwa Springs State Park in Florida. A few days later, her car was still found at a parking lot in the state park. Was it an accident or possibly foul play? Join us this week as we investigate the disappearance of Paola Miranda-Rosa. So a lot of the listeners might be happy to know that in the notes, she left us hints on how to say words properly.
Yeah.
So Catherine Allender really helped us out there. So what we know is locals call it Wekiwa Springs State Park. However, you can say Wekiwa Springs State Park. So
Wekiwa or Wakiva?
Wekiwa.
Wekiwa. Okay.
Wekiwa. And there's several news sources that will say Wekiwa. There's some that say Wekiwa. But it's a state park in Florida, 7,000 acres to be exact.
Pretty small.
Pretty small. During the summer months, the park frequently reaches capacity and may temporarily close. So closures occur intermittently and may last several hours. So it fills up quick, and then they'll shut it down until it empties out. It is in Central Florida, 16 miles north of downtown Orlando and 30 miles from the big tourist attractions. It was established in 1969, and here's just a little history about the area. Early human inhabitants reached Florida around 14,000 years ago. The sea level was much lower than it is today and resulted in the Florida Peninsula being more than twice as large as now. The people inhabiting Florida at the time were hunters and gatherers. Spanish explorer and adventurer Juan Ponce de Leon arrived in Florida in 1513. He called the area La Florida in honor of Pascua, Florida, Feast of the Flowers, Spain's Easter celebration. First Spanish period in 1565, Saint Augustine was established, or San Augustine was established as the first permanent European settlement in the United States. In 1763, Britain gained control of Florida in exchange for Havana, Cuba. The British had captured Havana from Spain during the 7 Years' War from 1756 to 1763. In 1784, Spain regained control of Florida as part of the peace treaty that ended the American Revolution.
Which case are we talking where the location that we were doing was, it swapped hands like 10 different times between the European powers in the U.S.? It was a few episodes back. I can't remember.
Was it like Louisiana because Louisiana Purchase?
I don't remember, but it just this.
Oh, it might have been
it.
Texas.
It maybe, I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was.
Now I'm just shooting arrows at the wall. I don't
might have been
throwing darts. I'm off.
It is funny though that Florida swapped hands a few times with European powers before it became the U.S.
Yeah. It's just crazy how they traded like Monopoly cards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it seems like.
I'll take Havana. You can have Florida. Like they didn't care about who lived there. It's
I know. There's in their palace across the world. Yeah. Like, here, you have this card. I'll take this. All right.
We'll throw in half the continental U.S. for an extra $20 million.
Yeah, I know, right? It was cheaper than that, probably.
Yeah, it was.
In 1821, Spain ceded Florida to the United States as a territory. Oh, thank you very much, Spain. Florida became the 27th state on March 3rd, 1845. Wekiwa Springs is the first tourist attraction in Central Florida, more than 70 years before the opening of Walt Disney World in Florida. A hotel and bathhouse complex was established at the spring in 1890s. In 1941, the land that is now Wekiwa Springs State Park was sold by the Wilson Cypress Company, which used the land for logging, to the Apopka Sportsman's Club. In October 2000, the Wekiwa River, together with Wekiwa Springs Run, Rock Springs Run, and Blackwater Creek, were designated by the United States Congress as a National Wild and Scenic River. The National Wild and Scenic River System was created by Congress in 1968 as a response to threats occurring to our nation's fragile rivers. The Wild and Scenic Rivers Act preserves those designated rivers which possess outstandingly scenic, natural, cultural, and recreational values in their free-flowing condition for the enjoyment of present and future generations. That's a mouthful, but it's great. The following are protected under the National Wild and Scenic River Systems: the Wekiwa River from its confluence with St. Johns River to Wekiwa Springs, Rock Springs Run from the headwaters at Rock Springs to the confluence with Wekiwa Springs Run, and Blackwater Creek from the outflow of Lake Norris to the confluence with the Wekiwa River. So a little history about the state park. We already went over the explanation of the W and the V. From this Florida State Park, Wekiwa Springs means spring of water, which is very literal.
Yeah.
And Wekiwa means flowing, or Wekiwa means spring of water. Wekiwa means flowing water in the Creek language. So that's why they can use either. An Orlando Sentinel newspaper article from 1999 has a different explanation. Arthur E. Franke Jr., a historian and former board member of the Seminole County Historical Commission, looked into the matter on behalf of the museum in the early 1980s. After careful research, Franke concluded that the proper spelling is Wekiwa. He wrote, "The confusion arises from the fact that the river, originally spelled as Wekiwa, over the years, apparently through inattention and disregard for careful spelling, became known as the Wekiwa River. Incidentally, Wekiwa is a Seminole Creek Indian word for spring of water. There was some debate whether different Indian words would be used to describe a spring and a river, but apparently that was put to rest by linguists who said the Native American language do not have the letter V." So I guess technically we should only be saying Wekiwa.
I am shocked that so many people spent this much time just sussing out a letter.
That's why there's so many angry people at us. So we get it wrong, because some people dedicate their lives to this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're dedicated to figuring this out, but wow.
Yes.
So we'll go with Wekiwa.
Yes, we'll go with Wekiwa.
Okay.
All right, so we'll jump into the climate. Wekiwa Springs State Park has a humid subtropical climate thanks to our friends at the Köppen Climate Classification System. There are two distinct seasons: summer wet season from June through September, and winter dry season from October to May. July highs average around 92. Afternoon humidity levels are usually around 50%. The humidity combined with the high temperatures and strong sunlight make heat stroke a significant risk. If anyone's ever been to Central Florida on a hot day, especially in the morning, holy cow.
Yeah, it's hot.
December highs average 73 and lows average 52. Frosts are infrequent but do sometimes occur. So getting a little bit of the terrain, Wekiwa Springs is the headwater of the Wekiwa River. Wekiwa Springs is second magnitude spring that expels 43 million gallons of water a day, according to Florida State Park's website. And for our friends overseas, because we just got a lot of birthday wishes from them for you, that is 163 million liters.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. And that's per day.
Yeah.
That's insane. After about 3/4 of a mile from the headwater, the Wekiwa River is joined by Rock Springs Run. Rock Springs Run State Reserve and Kelly Park share borders with Wekiwa Springs State Park. Rock Springs is located inside Kelly Park, a 245-acre Orange County park in Apopka. After leaving the county park, the stream enters Wekiwa Springs State Park, flowing for over 9 miles before joining the Wekiwa River. So some of the dangers in the area, the American alligator. There's also venomous snakes, timber rattlesnake, dusty pygmy rattlesnake, eastern diamondback rattlesnakes, southern copperhead, cottonmouth, also known as the water moccasins, and the eastern coral snakes. There are bobcats, coyotes, feral pigs, Florida black bear, white-tailed deer, river otter, and fire ants. And I've been bitten by fire ants. It's terrible.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
No. So one of the big things you want to worry about is dehydration. And you're thinking, well, we're on a river. Well, especially in a warm climate, you definitely don't want to drink from water.
Yeah.
This is flowing, so it's probably better, but that's usually where you get really the bad bacteria. So you want to bring lots of water. Even if it's a little bit cooler, you can become dehydrated. Another thing is lightning. From the National Weather Service website, the corridor from Tampa Bay, Florida to Titusville, Florida, aka Lightning Alley, receives the most lightning in the United States on an annual basis. Furthermore, than 90% of the lightning in the area occurs from May through October, between the hours of noon and midnight. So during this time of day and year, people in Central Florida who spend a large portion of their lives outdoors are much more likely to be struck than any other time anywhere else in the entire country. So they say you want to use the flash to bang method to determine how far away lightning is from you. When you see the flash, count the number of seconds to the bang of thunder, divide the number by 5. This is the miles the lightning is away. It is recommended if the thunder arrives within 30 seconds or less from you, your location, you should seek shelter.
It's a good rule of thumb. I mean, especially if you're out on water.
Yes.
Like on a boat or swimming or... you don't want to mess around with lightning. Just to go off on a tangent quickly, this wasn't lightning, but it's still in the realm of, being electrocuted. Did you hear that story out of Brazil about the musician?
No.
He was on a wet stage and a fan ran up and hugged him, but kicked a wire or something, and it caused a fault, and the singer and the fan were electrocuted and killed.
Jeez.
And it was a Final Destination freak accident, but lightning reminded me of that. Just you'd be on a lake swimming and it could strike on the other end and you could be, killed.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah.
So we'll jump down to just general difficulty. Swimming in Wekiwa Springs. The swimming area at the spring is just over a ½ acre in size with an average depth of 4 feet. The water is 72 degrees year round. That's actually very nice for spring water.
Yeah.
Swimming is not permitted in Wekiwa Springs Run, Rock Springs Run, or the Wekiwa River. Trails for hiking range in length from 0.8 to 13.5 miles. There are mountain biking trails, equestrian trails, and full facility campgrounds with about 60 campsites. So it seems like a really great area.
Yeah, and I mean the difficulty, obviously there's really no elevation gain. It's Florida. Yeah. I think your biggest difficulty here is just the heat and humidity. And
animals.
Animals like the alligators are your biggest concern.
Yes.
My folks have a house down in Florida, and they live on a retention pond that has alligators in it, and you don't want to get anywhere near there because they lurk right at the edge of the water. And,
oh yeah, that's that little kid a few years ago lost his life at Disney World.
Yeah,
and they're always looking for them and trying to keep them out of there, but they can just get in, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and people down there lose dogs all the time that get loose, that get near the water, and it's you really gotta keep an eye out for alligators. I mean, you think like they're huge, I would see them coming, but they're
have like millions of years of evolution of like hiding and not moving and looking like logs.
People every year get injured and killed by them, so
yes,
just be safe.
All right, how about you tell us about Paola Miranda-Rosa?
Sure. So she was born December 9th, 1990. She's a female. She was 31 at the time of her disappearance, so that would make her about 33 now. Her height was 4'10", 145 pounds. She had reddish violet hair. Her eye color was brown. The clothing she was last seen in was a brown tank top shirt, brown mini dress, and she was barefoot. Early reports did state that she was wearing blue jean shorts and a green or white shirt, but there are videos of her swimming before her disappearance. So she also drove a black Chevrolet HHR, which this would be eventually found in the parking lot of the state park. Though there were some reports that stated the car's model was 2012, but through research, we figured out that car was only produced through 2011. So medical issues that she had, she did suffer from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. She has made threats to harm herself in the past. However, at this time, it doesn't appear she was going through any significant issues, but I think this is something to take note of when we discuss theories, just because she has a history of this. Experience in this location. Her sister, Andrea Miranda, reported that she loves water and going into the water. Her sister also said that she had been to the park many times, so I think it's safe to say that she knew the park. She loved swimming. She probably was, a decent swimmer. And like we said, the area where people swim is only 4 feet deep, and the water looked, it wasn't like a, flowing, rapid river. So I think it would be kind of unusual for someone to drown in the area she was swimming in, but we'll get into that more in theories.
Yeah, especially when they said the average depth is 4 feet.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking up the picture while you were talking.
No, I mean,
that's
you can drown in
you can drown in 1 foot of water.
Yeah,
for sure, but it's way less likely than like a deep area.
Yeah, and we'll get into that theories, but yeah, just keep that in mind of her medical issues. It could have played a role. So some of the people involved in this case: Yvonne Rosa, mother; Gustavo Miranda, father; and Andrea Miranda was her sister. So getting right into timeline here. So everything starts off December 17th of 2021. She was last seen by relatives while visiting her grandmother in Orlando, Florida. On December 18th, she planned to visit her sister Andrea, but never arrived, according to her dad, Gustavo. Her mom did not hear from her on the 18th and became worried. One of her family friends, Bianca Aponte, said that she and her mom would speak and text multiple times a day. And this would be the day that a camper actually recorded a video of a woman swimming and wading in the water at Wekiwa Springs State Park, which would eventually be released by law enforcement, and law enforcement would confirm that family identified her as the woman in the video. So, and I think we'll have Joe play that clip.
Once I'm ready with it, I'll pull it up and throw it up there.
And I'll show you where it is in the notes. So December 19th, Paolo's family went to her home and noticed her car was gone and pets were left alone. She would not leave her pets alone, according to her dad. And I think anyone who has pets, if like a family, friend or loved one, you visit their home and their dog has been unattended for over a day, like that's very unusual for pet owners. Like I would never leave my dog alone like that unless something happened. So
right. Here's the video real quick.
Okay.
I just pushed it up on the screen.
You got the sound up?
Yep. Yeah, she's standing up. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's
you can see from that video the water is not very deep, and she's only 4'10", and she's halfway out of the water. And
Yeah, she stands up and
the water is basically still. Like it's not even. There's no current even really.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't look like a great spot to swim though.
no, I mean
It's very narrow.
and a lot of like brush along the shore. Like I would be concerned about alligators.
Yeah, I wouldn't go
I mean,
swimming here at all.
Well, and there's a reason why it's not allowed.
Yes,
So probably the alligator reason.
I would assume. Yeah.
So that was recorded, I believe, on the 18th, and eventually, like I said, released by law enforcement with a confirmation that was her. So
Yeah, that was from the Osceola County Sheriff's YouTube page.
correct, yeah. So it is now December 20th. The hikers that had taken that video learned of her disappearance from the news and sent the video to the sheriff's office. And that, like we said, that was the video of her wading in the water at Wekiwa Springs. But the information was not released to the public at this time. So it is now December 21st. Her car was found in the Wekiwa Springs State Park at Sand Lake parking lot. Her phone, wallet, and personal belongings were in the car, which kind of makes sense if you're planning to go swimming. This isn't like just your like normal manicured beach. It's pretty wild. So you would leave your stuff in your like glove compartment, lock the car, and then go swimming. Another report that was found said her keys were also found in the car. So this is a statement from the Orange County Sheriff's Department through a FOIA request, not from us, but from someone else. The deputy sheriff responded to a missing person, searched NCIF, FCIC, and Paolo was shown missing out of Osceola County and last seen December 17th, 2021. Deputy sheriff made contact with family. They reported that they located the vehicle after looking into Paolo's toll history and saw a Pumpkin Toll Plaza on December 18th, 2021. They stated that Paolo liked going to places with water, so they checked the state park and found her vehicle. I advised them to discontinue the search party and that we would assist in the search. They then made contact with park ranger who advised there was no report of the vehicle being here other than today, so it's safe to assume that the vehicle arrived on the 18th. He also stated that there was no log of individuals who enter the park unless they are registered to a campground. With this knowledge of the park, he stated there was a vacant ranger house on a nearby trail, and upon checking it, we had negative contact. While traveling back to the scene, we found a camper who stated that they had not seen anyone matching the description of Paolo. Florida Fish and Wildlife responded to the scene and assisted with a search of the trails throughout the park. So, Joe, you're good with military time. What is 1642?
4:42.
4:42 p.m.
You just -2.
-2, okay. -2, that would...
So 16 -2 is 14. Get rid of the 1.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gymnastics, but...
So at 4:42 p.m., Orange County Sheriff's Office bloodhounds responded to the scene where a track was conducted. Canines advised the track ended at the edge of the body of water, which makes sense because we have the video of her swimming. Orange County Aviation was requested to assist in the searching, but due to the weather, they were unable to fly. And I would imagine with the thick vegetation and tree cover that
drone wouldn't do much.
Yeah, aerial searching would be tough in this location.
It was so lush.
At 18:34 hours. So if my math, that would be
6:34.
6:34. My math is wrong. 6:34 p.m. Seminole County Aviation. I just read that. No, different county was requested again, but the weather was too bad for them to fly. A quadrant search of the public paths, trails, campgrounds, and buildings were conducted without any additional clues found. The Orange County Sheriff's Office Missing Persons Unit responded, and the scene was turned over to them. Joe's now showing some maps of...
No, I'm not showing it right now.
Oh. We do have a lot of...
I will, though.
Yeah, maps and pictures of the park. So, this is when the first search really kicked off. So December 21st to December 23rd, this would be the first search. So Wekiwa State Park search, it started kind of Tuesday evening on the 21st and it went to Thursday evening on the 23rd. This is a statement from the Osceola Sheriff's website. Did I say that correctly?
Osceola.
Sweet. It's a win.
You said Osceola a little bit.
Oh,
you put a little Midwestern twang on it.
Little twang. Osceola. Okay. Joe has family there, so this is a case that Joe should be getting the words right.
No, I'll still get them wrong, so I'm just glad you're doing it.
Okay. So the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with Orange County Sheriffs, utilized resources that were available to them, including aviation, drones, canoes, boats, scuba divers, and deployed approximately 150 law enforcement from various agencies, which is a pretty large search for an area that's only 7,000 acres. Usually we're covering cases where we're talking about, square miles, really huge spaces with less people than this. So they really had a lot of people out in the field for this search. So along with bloodhounds and search and rescue canines, additionally mounted patrol units were deployed, as well as volunteers who searched on horseback and on foot. The search of the park began Tuesday evening, like I said, and went to Thursday evening, covering several miles of the terrain and waterways that would be accessible to Ms. Paulo. Simultaneously, investigators followed up with leads that were provided, and were actively monitoring social media, and they continued to monitor tips that they received in. And law enforcement concluded at this time, based on the information that they collected out in the field and all of the tips and everything that they received, that foul play was not suspected. And that doesn't mean it wasn't foul play. That just means it sounds like they didn't find anything. So
yeah,
you don't really want to say that it's foul play if there's nothing found, even though the lack of evidence and the location, sometimes Joe and I might infer that we think foul play might have been a cause of the disappearance.
Based on history or any type of,
Yeah.
If they hung out with ne'er-do-wells.
Ne'er-do-wells. Yeah. That's an old term. Sounds like something from the 20s.
Yeah. How often do they do well? Nair.
So on the 28th of December, 2021, her family set up a GoFundMe in order to hire a private investigator. It is now in the new year, so it's January 5th of 2022. Osceola County Sheriff's Office posted on Facebook a video and 2 photos of her in the water at Wekiwa Springs State Park that were recorded by hikers on December 18th. And they
did raise almost $16,000.
That's amazing. I mean, the
last donation was 2 years ago, so it was around the time, but
yeah. And, a private investigator is probably really expensive. You pay for, obviously their hourly rate and then, reimbursable expenses for hotels and travel. And
yeah.
The sheriff's department stated they waited to release the video until they could get family member to positively ID the person in the water. So it's important, obviously, looking at that video, you can't really determine much from it. I don't think it would have really helped the public that much seeing the video, but it's important to still verify that was her.
Yeah, and I think it's the reason they recorded it was she was swimming somewhere she wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I was just looking through I had it up on the screen. I was looking through All Trails pictures, and there was a couple of pictures of don't swim alligators. That's the reason.
Yeah, no, that's what I figured. It looks like alligator land.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I would never swim there, but, people that live there might think otherwise. So let's moving on here. So,
yeah, I spent, because I have family that are around Wekiwa. So I've swam in Wekiwa Springs, which is like a water park built on it, but every now and then an alligator would get in, and they had people watching, and they would clear everybody out, and it was terrifying.
They get into people's pools down there.
Yeah.
I mean, so Spectrum News 13 reported Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez said that they waited to release the video to the public out of respect to the family, but have released it in the hopes others who were at the park that day can share their pictures and video as well. So, like I said, they were kind of waiting for the family to ID her. This is another press release from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office on January 1st of 2022. The sheriff has acquired a Zistos portable underwater video camera system to help search the area of the river where She was last seen. This equipment is a high-intensity camera system with lights. It has the capability to see into hard-to-reach areas and that cannot be explored by standard scuba equipment. Members of the Osceola County Sheriff's Office will be searching approximately 4.5 miles up and down the river using this state-of-the-art equipment. This is pretty cool. This is the first time in a case we've covered where they've used something like this in a search. I love it when we cover a case that has new technology that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been used many times in the past, but just not in a case we've covered.
Yeah.
Sheriff Marcos Lopez, along with 8 other AGG Marine deputies, will be at the Wekiwa Springs Park searching the area tomorrow, January 6th at 8 a.m. So you've got 150 people in the field. You've got drones. You've got aerial surveillance. You've got people on horseback. You've got volunteers on foot. You've got people on boats. I mean, this is, thinking of search and rescue per acre, probably one of the bigger searches we've covered because of the
manpower per acre. Absolutely.
Manpower per acre, 7,000 acres. This kind of force out there, I think you can safely say if these guys didn't find anything, that there's a couple theories then at that point, which we'll get into. But yeah, I was just amazed by how many people they got out there for this small area.
And quick, too.
Quick, yeah. I mean,
good for them.
It's not, it's not, we talk about the cost of search and rescue. It's not cheap to get aircraft in the air, to have drone operators, to have scuba divers. This all costs a lot of money to get out in the field, and to get that going so quickly is a real amazing testament to the professionals that work in these search teams.
Yep, absolutely.
So it is now January 6th of 2022. This is kind of the second and final search for Paolo. So again, Spectrum News 13 reported Sheriff Lopez came out of the park around 4:30 p.m. Lopez said deputies had found nothing, had not found anything in the search, even with the use of Marine deputies using an underwater drone to search. He said he felt that they'd done everything possible in the park and would not be returning to the search unless they got new leads. Here's a quote from him. "We did walk a little off into the woods and canvass both sides and used a drone. We didn't see any signs of anything. We were really comfortable to say that she's not in the waterway." Lopez said, We've pretty much done everything humanly possible. If she did get out of this car and someone has any knowledge of her whereabouts, that's what we're going to rely on now. At this time, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office suspended the search of the water at Wekiwa Springs State Park. Again, we said law enforcement at this time did not rule this disappearance as something foul play. So it is now still January of 2022. So the family had continued their search for multiple organizations, including Peace River Search and Rescue and CERT Team of Florida and the Puerto Rican-based foundation all searched Wekiwa Springs State Park along with almost 100 volunteers. So they're still out there with a ton of people after the official search had ended, which is pretty impressive.
You want me to play this real quick?
Yeah, let's play this. Joe's going to play a news clip from Spectrum News.
Oh, I muted it. Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties.
I do like when news stations automatically mute their videos.
I love it.
But it's just a problem when I'm doing this.
Paola Miranda and a team of almost 100 volunteers from multiple organizations try to search every inch of Wekiwa Springs State Park, hoping to find answers to where her sister, Paola Miranda-Rosa, is.
We're doing boots on ground, and we're dropping pins to find coordinates of every single spot to confirm that we've searched it all by foot.
The state park is the last place Paola was seen on December 18 by witnesses. The following day, Paola was reported missing by Andrea when she never arrived to her home, as planned. Paola's car was found abandoned with her keys, wallet, and phone all inside at the state park's Sand Lake parking lot. And a witness filmed and sent this video of Paola swimming in water near the other camp to Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The witness chose to remain anonymous.
We want to know what behaviors, if he saw anybody else. We want to know the environment that Paola was in, how she was behaving. We know her. We know my sister extremely well, so I feel like if anybody can say how she was doing health-wise, it's us.
Osceola County Sheriff's deputies searched the area with underwater cameras, but didn't find anything. It was another disappointment for the family, but this time they hope to learn more using a device which the searchers believe detects bone frequency.
That is able to confirm whether or not she's here at the park.
They also use search and rescue dogs and drones to help locate Paola and cover as much ground as possible. Andrea will receive the findings from the search in less than a week, and based on those findings, will determine whether they continue to search the state park or expand their search elsewhere.
Want to find you and want to bring you home to where you belong.
In Wekiwa Springs, Jessica Nales, Spectrum News 13.
That is some thick vegetation.
That's incredibly thick vegetation. I kudos to them too. They're dropping pins and sharing it to know where they search. Like what a innovative effort from volunteers that are not trained, and they're just saying, hey, it's so thick we don't want to double back or look at two places at once. So they're dropping pins.
They are getting help from the Peace River Search and Rescue and the CERT team of Florida so I'm guessing.
Okay, so they probably were coordinating with them.
These organizations probably are pretty trained up in modern search techniques. So they probably,
I assume so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
That's pretty impressive for a volunteer search party.
100 people.
100 people. They're marking their coordinates. They're tracking all of this, on a computer. Pretty impressive. So, moving on to December of 2022, so pretty much 1 year since her disappearance, her family had a mobile billboard deployed in Orange, Seminole, and Lake counties, and they are currently still searching for her. So, a very interesting case. We'll go right into theories, and I'll just start off with kind of what theories law enforcement and the general public had, and then we'll open the floor to myself and Joe to, kind of wrap this up with our theories. So, the first and obvious theory that the family really believes happened, and a lot of, the public thinks happened, is foul play. So, like I said, law enforcement has ruled foul play out, which is very common. If they don't find evidence of foul play, they're not going to rule a case foul play. They have to have, they have to really be strict about, if they found a bloody knife or, something like that, maybe foul play, but they didn't find anything. So they're obviously going to rule it not foul play. But the family really does believe that foul play was involved. Andrea said her sister would never abandon her family or her beloved pets, and she was not depressed or unhappy during the time she went missing. But I just want to remember that she did suffer from schizophrenia and was bipolar. So even though, family may have said she was okay at this time, I think, a certain percentage of what could have happened might have been a mental health issue. I don't think you can completely rule that out. But I think, if the family who spoke to her every day and knew her said she was in a good place at this time, I think that has to have a lot of weight in the theory. So another theory very high in the list of the public is an animal attack. So some people have stated concerns that she was eaten by an alligator, not to get morbid or a grizzly there, but Joe and I are looking at pictures and videos of this area, and both of us have been to Florida many times. We both have family that live in Florida. Like, alligators are everywhere, and that looked like a very alligatory, not a word, but an area.
It's a word now.
It's a word now. It's
those
very
waters
alligatory.
Those waters look very alligatory.
I mean, you could just look at one picture like, oh, I bet there's alligators there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I think an alligator attack, or very highly likely. I would still say that I believe in past alligator attacks, though. Like, I don't want to get too grisly here, but like clothing and other stuff is found.
Yeah,
because
it's not clean.
It's not clean,
and the water wasn't flowing like you mentioned. Like it was pretty still, so you feel like they would have found.
And they were out there pretty quick. And think about how many people visit the park that sometimes they get so busy they have to close it.
Well, with all those searchers in the river, you think they would have found the swimsuit or like what she was wearing, things like that.
Because even if an alligator consumed the clothing, it would come back out. It's not going to get digested.
I don't know. Will it?
I don't think so.
Oh, you said definitive. Some alligator expert's going to be very upset if you're wrong.
Yeah, I guess if I'm wrong, let me know. But
Call the number.
I'm kind of thinking about, like with bear attacks, kind of not the same as like getting attacked by an alligator in water, but the same,
They don't clean the scene.
it's not going to be clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the weather also was very pleasant at this time. On December 18th, the high was 84 and it was 66 at night. So definitely you could survive out there if you got lost at 66 degrees in Florida. So, and it's a small park with lots of people in it. So I feel like getting lost in that park, you would get found pretty quickly.
It's difficult because
It's
most
thick.
people aren't going to be going deep into thick brush. It's
Yeah.
difficult to do. You're going to be looking for the open areas.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of open areas.
Yeah, and so according to Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, alligators are most active between 82 degrees and 92 degrees Fahrenheit. They stop feeding when the ambient temperature drops below approximately 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and then they become dormant at 55. So alligators are dormant throughout much of the winter season. During this time, they can be found in burrows or dens, and they construct adjacent to an alligator hole or open water, but they occasionally emerge to bask in the sun during spells of warm weather. So if it was 82 degrees out in December, you've got to maybe think that maybe some alligators came out of their dens and were sunning themselves. And
Sure.
and then there were 2 previous alligator attacks from 2015. In August of 2015, a 37-year-old woman swimming in a secluded area on the Wekiwa River near Wekiwa Island lost part of her arm to an alligator attack. 2 kayakers rescued the woman. One kayaker hit the alligator with a paddle, and the alligator released the victim. The kayakers pulled her out of the water and to shore. She lost her arm above the elbow. Sadly, the alligator was tracked and euthanized. Seminole County Sheriff's Office released a picture of the alligator that attacked a woman in the Wekiwa River. In the photo, the alligator appears to have a blue bathing suit in its mouth. What are you playing here?
Oh, I'm looking up for the picture. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. It's got literally the blue bathing suit.
Yeah. So, an alligator attack, it wouldn't be clean, and, this water is not flowing really. So you would assume that evidence of an attack would be left behind if searchers were there that quickly. And then another alligator attack occurred in October of 2015. Did you want to play this video?
I'm seeing. Just keep
Okay.
going. I'll let you know.
So, like I said, October of 2015, a 62-year-old man was swimming with 2 other people at Blue Springs State Park and then disappeared. His body was found at the bottom of a channel in Blue Spring. A 12-foot alligator was determined to be responsible and killed hours later. And this is from the Daytona Beach News Journal. The Volusia County Medical Examiner had confirmed that the cause and manner of death of a DeBerry man was found dead in Blue Spring to be consistent with an alligator attack, a state wildlife official said. And Blue Springs is less than 30 miles north of Wekiwa Springs State Park. A couple other theories: animal, like a snake attack. So according to, again, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Florida has 6 venomous snakes, but they are not particularly dangerous unless stepped on or otherwise provoked. And finally, accident. Did she get lost and wander in the state park? It would be easy to get lost, I guess. Just it is very thick. Or did she have an issue with her mental health? Like we said, she was bipolar and had schizophrenia, so I think you can't rule that out. But I think I put that theory pretty low based on the comments by the family, who were very close with her and spoke with her every day. So I think it sounded like her sister, was very close with her, and I feel like she would know if her sister was going through something at the time, and she would share that with law enforcement if she thought, maybe suicide isn't a theory. So, Joe, I don't know. I'm thinking, I'm leaning towards an alligator attack, but I have questions on that just because there was nothing found indicating an alligator attack. It also leads me to be, she was a a small, 4'10". It could be abduction. Maybe she was walking back to her car and someone abducted her. I would
Or left on her own accord.
Yeah, left her car there and just.
See, that's what's wild about these cases is there's always one thing that would make one of the theories not viable.
Yeah.
I would have said alligator attack, but how thoroughly they comb that area
And underwater.
I feel like they would have found some remnants of clothing or something like that.
Like that other gentleman that was killed by the alligator attack, they ended up finding his body.
Yes.
At the bottom. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough one. And I think with all of these, there's always those other things too. Like she did have those mental health issues, which can be unpredictable.
Yeah.
Just because she was okay in the morning doesn't mean she was okay later that day.
We don't know if she was on any medication.
Well, she went swimming in an area she's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And if she was of sound mind, would she have done that?
Yeah.
Was that her? I don't know that answer. I don't know if that was her personality or not. Yeah, I don't know. I
would say alligator attack and abduction are my two theories, normal theories, just because alligators are so prevalent down there, and she was swimming in an area that was closed off due to alligator activity.
Mm-hmm.
People have been, a woman lost her arm in the same area a few years earlier. 30 miles north, a gentleman was killed by an alligator. I think, obviously, alligator attack is...
I don't know. I want to say that, but I want to say, I don't say abduction. I don't feel like she's in the park.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
So her car's there and all her stuff is
gone.
in her car.
Yeah, maybe she, like I said, she maybe walked out, took a bus.
Or maybe something happened to her outside of the park, and whoever did it decided just to dump the car there.
Yeah.
Left the keys, left her phone, everything.
See, I don't even want to...
But she was seen in the water swimming, so...
Yeah, so she was there.
She was there.
She was there. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, my gut's telling me she's not in the park. That's, for whatever reason, I have zero explanation for that other than all I've been thinking is, I was thinking alligator.
Yeah.
Until I looked at pictures and saw how thoroughly they were searching, and they didn't find anything, and it's been several years and they still haven't found stuff. And they seem to be pretty active in looking. I just feel like she's not in the park.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty strong theory. I think, not in the park. You can't rule out the alligator attack. I think maybe abduction, though, that, I don't know. This one is a puzzling one. I honestly, I can't say one theory is more, possible than others. And you can't rule out, a mental health issue. Perhaps she wandered off into that thick brush, and even though it's a small park and they had 150 people in there, they just haven't. It's just hard to cover when it's that thick.
I think that's possible too.
Yeah, it was so thick. You saw that video. They're ducking down and crouching just to get through there.
Yeah, and if most of the park is like that, I know there were some wide open spaces I saw, but around the river especially, it's very thick vegetation.
Yeah.
That could be.
Could be. She might have...
maybe there were... maybe it was an alligator attack, the remnants, but the remnants are in, one of those holes. What are they called? The dens? Yeah. Maybe it's... And it's... Even though they searched well, they haven't checked all of those. Those change.
Yeah. I don't know. I think... anyone listening, especially those of you who live in Florida or in this area... leave comments wherever you listen or on our social media. Let us know what you think happened. I know locals obviously probably have some theories just because that's where they live and are, know the area. So let us know.
Yes. And thanks again, Catherine Allender, for doing the research in the show. Well, you should also weigh in on what you thought about the episode.
Yes.
And help us decide. But thanks again for tuning into our show. We appreciate you all for listening and sharing Locations Unknown with your friends and family. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Especially go to Instagram. We're trying to really grow that, and we're putting a lot of good content out there. You can also find these videos if you want to see the images or the videos we showed on YouTube. We're trying to grow that as well. If you want to support the show monetarily, please visit our website or Facebook store to buy some sweet swag. And you can additionally subscribe to our Patreon account where you'll get some of that swag and have access to exclusive patron-only shows and other paid subscriber content. So that goes the same for YouTube as well as Apple subscriptions. And lastly, when enjoying the beauty of nature, whether backpacking, camping, or simply taking a walk, always remember to leave no trace. Thanks, and we will see you all next time.